Yes guys, we are of course back with another video. So today I thought we'd dive deep into the world of Gore art. Now, an interesting piece of art that I'd never really looked into the story or background of was of course the painting of Saturn Devouring His Son. The painting was drawn by Francisco Goya, who was born on the 30th of March 1746 and died at age 82 on the 30th of April 1828. Goya was well known for being involved with the Spanish royal family and even drew many portraits of them. Here you can see two of his most famous paintings, Charles V of Spain and his family, and the 3rd of May 1808. Now, Saturn Devouring His Son is just one painting from a series of 14 works, known as the Black Paintings, which were drawn in the later years of Goya's life, most likely between 1819 and 1823. This was a time where it was known that Goya may have been suffering from severe depression, most likely due to the Spanish unrest that was going on at the time, and then painted these paintings as a way to take out his suffering, sadness and anger in his own privacy. These paintings were extremely different to his earlier paintings, as his earlier paintings were usually merry scenes of festivals and bright colours, as well as portraits of famous people. Now, Goya didn't actually tell anybody about these paintings and wasn't actually ever going to show anybody this series of work until he had no choice when he died on the 16th of April 1828 and the paintings were all found on his wall. And ironically, the works of art that he didn't want anybody to know about became some of the most famous, well-known and well-loved paintings that you see today, and even overtook the popularity of the nude Maya painting, which was also a very famous painting by Goya. Now, I could spend all day talking about every single painting in this black painting series, but we're only going to talk about one specific piece of art, which is one of my favourite Goya pieces and one of my favourite art pieces overall, and that is of course Saturn Devouring His Own Son. There is another version of this painting by an artist known as Peter Paul Rubens, which is quite different to the painting by Goya, in which instead of Saturn eating what is actually an adult man, Rubens' picture depicts him eating an actual baby. However, each painting has its own little thing that makes it very unique and very creepy. Obviously, in Rubens' painting, Saturn is eating, well, an actual baby. There's not much else I can say about that. However, in Goya's painting, Saturn is depicted as a complete madman. The way he's presented is basically what I'd call a psychopathic state. His hair is a mess and his terrified, fear-filled face just adds to the overall horror of this piece. And there's an apparent rumour that the original painting on the wall at the time of being found also depicted Saturn as being sexually aroused by the consuming of his own son. However, there is a short story behind the myth of this painting, a very short story which we're going to quickly dive into now. Now, this painting in particular really stands out for me, and don't get me wrong, there are 3 other ones which are pretty great, such as The Witch's Sabbath, Old Men Eating Soup and The Dog, 3 of which I actually really like from this series of work. So this painting basically depicts the Greek myth of Saturn, or rather Titan Cronus, if you want to give it the Greek name, who prophesies that one day one of his children would eventually overthrow him, taking that prophecy into account with his next actions, and fearing that he would in fact be overthrown by his own children, Saturn proceeded to eat each and every one of his children straight after birth. Now this prophecy would actually end up correct. After his sixth son, Jupiter, was born, and his wife hid Jupiter away from him, Jupiter would then actually end up overthrowing Saturn, rendering the prophecy to be true. And that's basically all of the background for this piece of art. Like I say, it's a very, very short story, and I wish I had more to it, but it's just a painting. So going back to the black paintings in general, instead of these paintings being put on a canvas or on paper, these paintings were in fact transferred by brush straight onto the walls of Goya's house, later being transferred over to canvas after he passed away. And most of these paintings, I believe, are now being featured in the Museo del Prado in Madrid, after being bought by a German banker named Emil Erlanger, who sent them to an exhibition in Paris in 1873, where they were eventually given over to the Museo del Prado in Madrid in 1881, where they still hang today, along with many other works. And I don't know, maybe someday I'll take an even deeper dive into the black paintings of Francisco Goya. Some very good ones there, you should check them out. I'm very interested to cover them in their totality rather than just dishing out a little bit of information here and there and on one particular painting, as of course there's very little lore about it, but it fits here and I believe it has a place on this channel. And that's all I've really got to say about Saturn, shit. And that's all I've really got to say about Saturn devouring his own son. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want, like, subscribe, maybe click that little bell next to the subscribe button. Stay safe, guys, and I will see you in the next video.